Hello and welcome to another video. This is Voorhees Retro 81, and this is a little bit of a new kind of thing for me. Well, sort of. I've been toying with the idea of just doing some of my own non-video response, but inviting other people to video respond if they want to just sort of random natters on vlogs or on sort of gaming related subjects, and I thought to kick that off. I mean, I know I've done a few of them before, like the Master System games one, but to kick that off, I thought I'd be interested to see what people's thoughts are, and I'm going to discuss my own on this kind of and I think it's kind of come to an extent out of the homebrew scenes on some of the older systems, but also like a sort of revisiting of things like pixel art and such like that, on sort of new retro styled games. I was going to call them faux retro, but I feel like that's a bit unfair, and it was just something I picked up off of a lot. I'm into my horror and my sort of classic action movies and such and a lot of the time there's a similar kind of scene in that area for revisiting that kind of genre with new films, and that's often referred to as faux exploitation, but yeah, faux retro doesn't quite hit the point that I wanted to hit with it anyway. So I always like to kind of get the things that I'm going to say that are a bit negative out of the way first, because then I'm mostly being positive for the rest of the chat. So just to say where I'm going to take it overall, I think that the new retro scene is fantastic, and overall it's been really great. It's given me a lot of joy, and I've really enjoyed a lot of games coming out of it, and I think it's a really good thing for gaming, and I think it keeps it keeps things open for people like me who don't have the kind of time that always available to them, that they can sit down and play the newest massive sort of 80-hour RPG or whatever, to keep their hand into gaming. And a lot of the games that have been made within this scene so far are absolutely fantastic. I think that one of the things is that when people are making these games, some people get how to do it and others don't, and I feel that when people don't, often the big problems for me are difficulty for the sake of difficulty, and focusing on the style and the visual look and the sound over the gameplay of the original games that are being homaged. I think those are where there are pratfalls. Those are the sort of core problems. Obviously, there's the other thing that it's big and it's exciting for people and it's trending, and because we live in this sort of massively digital social media world, especially since we all got forced into our houses by COVID-19, that's only got worse. We are in this situation where If something's successful, then people are just a lot of people are going to try and take advantage of that by just piling onto it. And I've played at the same time that I've played some great games from some fabulous developers who it's all about the love of the game, creating a great game, and other people, being able to share it with other people and enjoy it. I've also played quite a lot of games that I would say are kind of cynical cash-ins on the newly revised interest in, newly refreshed interest in retro gaming. So. And some of those have come out of really big companies, and yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go naming and shaming, and it's gaming's very much a one man's Pavarotti kind of situation anyway. So I'm sure that some of the games that I don't like, you guys might really love, and I'd much rather build up than punch down, so. But there is a bit of mainstream pile-on of oh, let's make a retro game, that'll make us tons of money, but also shovelware stuff as well. But that's always a problem with any genre of games that gets successful, is you're going to have all the Johnny-come-latelys coming in afterwards. But those would be my, like, you know, things that are not so great about the situation. But there have been some fantastic games coming out in this kind of, like, I don't know whether you'd want to call it a movement or a style of game or what. You know, it's not really a genre. It's more like a way of oh dear, a way of making games. And there's been some games that have just become, like, you know, go-tos for me. And, you know, I think what's interesting about it as well is that because it's become quite a wide kind of scene of games, I think it's not necessarily the case that everybody's heard of, like, the games that everybody's playing. I mean, there are ones that, like, universally people, like, basically accept are really, really good. Like Bloodstained springs to mind. That's definitely been, you know, very well regarded. I have played it. I haven't got anywhere near into it as I perhaps would like to. It does seem like a pretty cool game, but I just haven't sat down with it for, you know, enough time to really get into it. But I am looking forward to eventually getting around to sticking my teeth into it, pun unintended. And you know, another one that I've been playing a lot recently. I've been playing a lot of Xenocrisis. I mean, I did cover that on the channel tonight as well, although I don't know when this will be going up, so it might have been yesterday. That's a really good game. It's not perfect. It's got a few issues, but they're more gameplay things that are just, like, you know, I would have maybe preferred that they'd gone down other ways. But, you know, it's not, you know, none of it's the kind of thing that makes the game not good at all. That's well worth looking at if you get a chance. And another one that springs to mind that I've been playing, not as recently because it's very difficult. It's very good, but it's very difficult. Is Blazing Chrome, which is kind of like a homage to Contra. That's a really great game. And I think, like, what makes these games really good is when the teams sit down and they really, like, you know, they really love the original games that they're, you know, making a nod to with these games. You know, they're not just, you know, they're just as big fans of them as we are, you know, and you know, their intent isn't to make a quick buck. Their intent isn't to make as much money. You know, obviously, you know, their intent is to sell the game, but their intent isn't just to make as much money as humanly possible off as little effort as they can. You know, they clearly really love, like, gaming, like the art of gaming, game design. You know, they really enjoy, like, the aspects of the games that they played when they were growing up, or the games that they played within that scene. And, you know, they really want to put all that together into something that everybody's going to really enjoy and it's going to send everybody home happy. And I think that's the important thing, and I think that's the core of most of the games that I've seen coming out of this, especially the ones that have, like, drawn me to them, is that, you know, it's about making a game that is sort of referential to you know, the games that have come before it in those sort of retro genres, but also, like, adding their own flavor to it, and you know, and also making sure that people enjoy their game in the same way that they enjoyed the games that inspired them to make them. You know, I felt that a lot with when I play. Some of you probably remember this video when I play Crisis Wing. Crisis Wing is a game that, without fail, I always enjoy. God, it's still alive. Not anymore. That was a bit weird. So, them's the breaks when you're a Skyrim hunter. But yeah, you know, I mean, Crisis Wing kicks my ass every single time I play it. You know, it just kicks the crap out of me. It's really difficult, but it's really good fun, and it's exciting, and it's enjoyable, and the music's fantastic. The graphics are great, and it's never hard in that way where you just feel like, oh, they just made this as hard as balls for the pure sake of it. It's hard in a way, like, you know, you get a little bit further, you do a little bit better each time you're practicing it. You know, it's just a really great game, and I feel the same way about Super XYX that I looked at a while back as well. I mean, those tend to be, you know, that tends to be my bread and butter with retro games, is the shooters. So, you know, you'll always probably see me playing a lot of shooters. And there are games that kind of like aren't retro in like visual style or atmosphere, but they really nail that kind of retro style of gameplay. Next Machina or Next Machina, I'm not sure, I always think of it as Next Machina. That is a really, really good, like nigh perfect twin stick shooter, and it's kind of retro in an almost, in a sort of like, you know, it feels a bit like Tron when you play it kind of fashion, but it's a very modern game, but the gameplay is like pure old school sort of twin stick shooter stuff like Smash TV or Robotron. I have a funny feeling like the Robotron guy in some manner helped out with that. I mean, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, you know, I mean, I think like this is a really good scene so far, and like there's definitely some aspect of like, you know, cynical, you know, smash and grab for cash exploitation of it, you know, like, oh, well, if we fool people into thinking that this is one of them good retro styled games, you know, with some like retro looking graphics, and like, you know, oh, it's well hard, so like, you know, it's like a retro game because it's well difficult in it, because like, you know, all the retro games are well difficult. You know, there's a bit of that going on, but it, you know, I think you get that anywhere in gaming now, because gaming is just such big money. And there's so many people, unfortunately, out there who are willing to just like exploit that and not give anything back. But it's vastly outweighed by the amount of people, and certainly in this scene, vastly outweighed by the amount of people who are putting real effort into putting something really interesting together. And I'm interested to see what happens in the future with it, because it does just seem to be going from strength to strength. Anyhow, that's my ponderances on it. Crab, we got crabs. I mean, if you're looking for some games to try out that are, you know, modern retro games and a bit off the beaten path, I was definitely check out Xenocrisis. That Savage Halloween I had on the channel a while back, that's pretty damn good. I haven't got very far into that so far because of time and everything, starting the new job, but that's pretty entertaining game. And yeah, another one that I haven't mentioned and I haven't put on the channel, but I will sooner or later. I'm just waiting a while to sit down and relearn how to play it, because it's a bit of a strange beast to play, and I want to show it in its best light. Is Bot Vice. Bot Vice is really good. So that one's well worth looking at as well, just for for things that you could have a check out of. Some which I've covered, some which I haven't. Anyhow, that's me. Do feel free to video respond if you're interested. I'd love to see them, and you know, if you do video respond, do pop me a link in the comments, and I'll have a look at it. And you know, I'm interested to see what you guys all think on this. Anyhow, take care of yourselves. Peace out, and see you soon.